Good morning, everyone. What a happy day. Welcome to Hill Auditorium, and for those of you following along on the live stream, welcome virtually to the commencement ceremony for the Taubman College of Architecture and Urban Planning at the great University of Michigan. Today, we gather to confer degrees on 230 students who have met the rigorous requirements of our doctoral, master's, and bachelor's programs. Congratulations, students, on all you have accomplished. And thank you for choosing Taubman College and making it the framework for your learning, your professional development, and your success. We pride ourselves here on offering students an incredible breadth of opportunity to learn and for intellectual development, taught by leading faculty in the fields of architecture, planning, urban design, real estate, urban technology. Our degrees bring students into a culture of innovation and experiment linked to a passion for change and justice. Through interdisciplinary and experiential learning, we connect students with many other centers of expertise across campus. We tap into the great strength of this world-class public research university. We also, that combination of factors attracts an incredibly talented, ambitious, energetic, committed group of students. And you power everything we do. And at the end, students become leaders in practice, empowered to make a profound difference in creating better buildings, cities, and communities. And the need and opportunity for that leadership has never been greater. The pandemic has hit our society hard with disparate impact along lines of pre-existing vulnerability and privilege. The racial reckoning of the past 2 years has highlighted the depth of white supremacy and the urgency of reconstruction. A volatile economy has intensified the precarity for many people while concentrating wealth among the very richest. Democracy is in crisis at home and around the globe, and extreme weather events have underlined the pace of climate change. Many of you have addressed these challenges in your studio projects and thesis projects, your research papers, and capstone collaborations, even as you navigated them in your own lived experience. And I know I speak for the whole faculty in commending you on the inventiveness, creativity, rigor, and moral clarity of the work that you've generated under some very trying circumstances. And I just want to take a moment to recognize that many of you joined the college. Some of you have been at the college for 4 or more years. Some of you are getting your second Taubman College degree today. But many of you joined us 2 years ago or more recently, and you have navigated with us this incredible set of transformations in how we teach with new tools like Zoom and Miro and many other things, new ways of studying, new ways of collaborating. And one of the greatest points of pride for me has been the degree to which everyone at Taubman College stepped up to adapt together under pressure over the last couple of years. I have marveled time and again at the way students stepped up in spring and summer 2020 to provide leadership in partnership with their degree directors and chairs, associate deans, and key staff members. Students organized a group to represent their interests and their concerns as we planned changes to our course offerings for fall 2020. And in summer 2020, Design Justice Actions formed as well to provide guidance in how to respond after the murder of George Floyd and the slow awakening of white America to deep challenges that many in our community had known for a long time. And that level of collaborative adaptation, moving forward into the unknown, I felt, brought out the best in our students, our staff, our faculty, and our administrative leadership. And I would just like, there are so many people to recognize and honor, but I would like to just highlight in particular our Associate Deans for Research and Creative Practice, Jeff Toon and now Kathy Velikov. And our Associate Dean for Academic Initiatives, Anya Sirota, who can't be here today with us. And above all, our program chairs. In Urban and Regional Planning, first Joe Grangs and now Larissa Larsen. And in Architecture, McLain Clutter. Each of them represents a team of staff and faculty, and there are many others directing degrees and leading certificates and running the Fab Lab and doing all the other dimensions of our great enterprise. The level to which people stepped up in a time of crisis and partnered with one another to find the path forward has been an incredibly moving experience for me and I think for many of us. And that's one of the qualities I value most in the Taubman College community, a shared commitment to excellence and to one another. Faculty and staff are deeply invested in our teaching, mentoring, and support for our students. And students bring an equivalent level of dedication and energy in your learning and creativity. Never was this mutual commitment more evident or more valuable than over the past 2 years. All of us at Taubman College are excited to welcome you, graduates of 2022, as colleagues. And we know we're going to learn, we've already been learning a lot from your work, where you have used your powers of analysis, synthesis, creativity, design, planning. You have shown us what's possible in our buildings, our cities, and our communities. And as you start the next stage of your lives and careers, you carry forward great capacities to build better futures, your own and those of the many people whose destinies are shaped by our built environment. Graduating classes of 2022, go forth and build that better world. Go big, go bold, and forever go blue. We start by awarding doctoral degrees. And many of our Ph.D. students are at the Society of Architectural Historians Conference in Pittsburgh, and so are not here today. Others have personal commitments, but we do have one very important hooding ceremony to observe. And so I invite Urban and Regional Planning Ph.D. candidate Rob Pfaff and Professor Joe Grangs to come forward. Rob will receive his PhD today for a dissertation titled Regions, Race, Rail, and Rubber, an analysis of how transportation planning decisions contributed to regional segregation, 1922 to 1973. Please join me in congratulating Rob and welcoming him into the community of scholars. I now invite Urban and Regional Planning Program Chair Larissa Larsen to the podium.
Graduates, some of you are from the Midwest, others are not. Some of you will stay in the Midwest, and some of you will travel off to the East, West Coast, and perhaps even other countries. I want to share with you just a few observations from someone who has lived the majority of her life in the Midwest, although my Midwestern experiences began in Canada. So these thoughts are infused with hockey, butter tarts, and Tim Hortons coffee. People of the Midwest have an awkwardness around emotion. Some of us come from farms where the expression of emotion was viewed as an extraneous use of oxygen, taking time away from the work at hand. But in the Midwest, many of us express emotion through food. And for me and my people, that specific food is the casserole. Should any sadness befall you or your extended family, a great urge will swell up inside of me to make a casserole. When a friend or neighbor has experienced a death in their family or any disrupting emotional event, my husband and I will take that primal urge and deliver that casserole as soon as we can get there. After some thought, I've decided what is at the center of casserole giving. I believe it is a belief in the healing magic of elbow macaroni. Another characteristic of Midwestern life for many is playing euchre. If a Midwesterner invites you over and after supper suggests a round of euchre, this communicates a foray into friendship. For now, by introducing euchre, you have signaled your willingness to spend another hour together. Playing euchre together also requires establishing a common set of rules. There is great regional variation in the rules and practices of euchre, and with your guests, you must review terms such as farmer's hand, stick the dealer, sorry, Grandma, going alone, and by the end of this discussion, you understand exactly where this person is from and how they think. The final characteristic that I would like to share with you is the Midwesterner's ability to achieve self-actualization through an appreciation of the everyday. One example of this recognition is that the minivan is a superior vehicle. The minivan can carry multiple 4 by 8 foot sheets of plywood at one time. The minivan can transport half of the girls' hockey team and their enormous bags of equipment to a game. And the minivan incorporates many features of engineering genius. Here is but one example. Once your small children are old enough to open the car door for themselves, they will do so with an enthusiasm that regularly dents the car beside you. The sliding door of the minivan ensures the respectful arrival of your family. So, graduates, I hope you take away some of these Midwestern sensibilities, and if your journey brings you back to Ann Arbor, remember, you are welcome to visit us, and perhaps we'll have some casserole, maybe a little euchre, and if you're lucky, I'll give you a ride in my minivan. Congratulations. I have the honor to present some awards to the Master of Urban and Regional Planning students, and I will read these to try and get them perfect. First, we would like to give an award for service to Todman College and the Urban and Regional Planning's Program Award. This award recognizes outstanding contributions to the Urban and Regional Planning program and the student body. And these contributions advance our mission to the program. And this year's recipient is Emily Soderberg. Sorry, we haven't done this for a few years. Next is the Eric Dewiki Service to the Community Award. This recognizes a graduate Master of Urban and Regional Planning student who has made a significant contribution to people and organizations outside of the University of Michigan. And this year's recipient is Juan Francisco Hong Chung. award I would like to give is the Academic Achievement Award. It recognizes exceptional students based on GPA, academic-oriented achievements or awards, and contributions in classes, group projects, capstones, professional projects, theses, or competitions. And this year's recipient is Rebecca Rooks. And the last award I would like to give out is from the American Institute of Certified Planners. This award recognizes outstanding achievement in the study of planning by one student graduating from the Planning Accreditation Board. This is the big cheese, okay? And this year, I am very delighted to award this to Danielle Stewart. Now I would like to introduce Paul Jones III, and I would like him to speak on behalf of his graduating class.
Thank you, Larissa. I'll be by to get my casserole later. Good morning, Todman. I'm so excited to be in front of you all today. Both to celebrate this journey, its highs and lows, and to acknowledge the beautiful constellation of time, people, and place that have brought our class together today and have made this moment so special and possible. At the beginning of our time in this class in fall 2020, there was a dark cloud of uncertainty around everything, but especially what this day would look like. There were times that I wondered if we would get to experience the classroom at all, and the possibility of commencement being relegated to a Zoom webinar has certainly weighed on all of our minds. Nevertheless, we've made it to today to take a deep breath after our successful course through uncharted waters and to look with anticipation and promise toward our next chapters. So getting ready for this speech, I reflected on some of the commencement addresses I've heard before, and I realized that I don't remember any of them. But more importantly, I wondered how I could best encapsulate this time together in the things that have made our class special. I came up with a pretty simple theme that I think is going to work for today. We're a strange class for strange times. Our strange class kicked off completely virtually. We had to learn how to make space and get to know one another without the luxury of physical interactions. We had to unmute ourselves, and we had to navigate a good portion of our grad school experience from our homes. I've watched us all overcome the trepidation of the times, and I'm inspired by the camaraderie we've built in the face of it all. It's been a great honor to be a part of classes with you all and to see the passion, authenticity, and kindness you've carried with you here to Ann Arbor. I've been inspired by your ideas, by your experiences, and I will dearly miss being surrounded by other planners. I've thought a lot on my long drives from here to Detroit about the perfect little neighborhood that our cohort would make if all of our ideas and the skills that we built here were cultivated together and lived on one block. But I know that we're going to take them all with us into our respective communities, and that makes me even more excited. I'll end this message with a few invitations for the journey forward. We've all done an incredible thing. Be intentional about celebrating that today. There are elements of this experience that I'm sure feel undone, things that we wish we learned more of, and connections that we wish we would have made, and that's okay. Feel comforted today knowing that you will not miss what's meant for you. We should feel empowered today to use our expertise and the skills that we built over the last few years to build the just, sustainable, and healthy cities of our imaginations. At the end of each class, one of my high school teachers would tell us to go forth and set the world on fire, which is a quote that's referenced to the patron saint of the Jesuits. And today I want to echo that sentiment and just celebrate the medical fires that I'm excited to see you all set in your own careers and communities. Thank you. And now I have the great honor of presenting our Urban and Regional Planning Faculty Excellent Award. Our first recipient is Joe Grangs. And our second recipient is Paula Pimentel. Thank you all so much, and congratulations.
I am now pleased to ask Anna Paula Pimentel Walker to come forward to read the names of the Master of Urban and Regional Planning graduates. This is an honor asked of them by the graduating class. I will then invite all of the Master of Urban and Regional Planning graduates to come forward, and I will ask Dean Jonathan Massey to congratulate you with me in this happy day.
Paul John III. Emily Soderberg. Rebecca Hooks. Danielle Stewart. Alex Spotford. Alexis Richards. Sarah Jamal. Charlotte Dana. Adina Grabischik. Shelby Mister. Sarah Violet Perigo. Gregory Scott Hardson. Valerie Ann Lujan. Juan Hong Chung. Aaron Moss Cohen. Dolores Migadilla Perales. Megan Good. Jane Dixon. Hannah Boucher. Elise Chansine Gronstad. Kylie Fitzgerald. Areli Ariana Valderrama. Shanae Kondo. Simon Rivers. Roland Amartefiu. Andrea Mohey. Jeffrey Pritchard. Brigitte Smith. Sahil Aizit. Alicia Adams. Camila Lizundia. Sydney Weisman. Jonathan Hadsma. Laura Ashley Melendez. Catherine Jean Kemp. Christopher Moon Miklowski. Sarai Zelada. Alexandra Mills.
I would just like to say congratulations once again. Go blue, but go plan. And now I'd like to welcome back Dean Jonathan Massey.
I would like now to invite Master of Urban Design Program Director Hadi Jazairy to introduce the college's Master of Urban Design graduates.
The Master of Urban Design is a post-professional program addressing the global challenges of urbanism. It is a breeding ground for multidisciplinary approach, embedded research, experimentation, and scenario planning. I would like to announce the MUD Award for Excellence now. The students contributed to cohort building and engaged in the MUD Student Association. The student was an active torch towards the new cohort. She co-organized the fall lectures with Masla while always producing strong and critical work in her studio. I would like to congratulate Anmol Poptani. I would like to ask the Master of Urban Design students to come forward. I would like to ask Dean Massey to join me in congratulating the students. Zuyu Shi. Harvey Tian. Yu Shu. Weran Zhang. Shuye Lei. Sarah Jamal. Anmol Poptani. I would like to congratulate the 2022 MUD class for the ceremony. Thank you.
I now invite Master of Science in Digital and Material Technologies Degree Director Sean Alquist to introduce the college's Master of Science graduates.
The Digital Material and Technologies program is a very intensive but short 10-month program where the students are learning very technical skills from things such as robotic manufacturing all the way to using knitting machines, experimenting with materials from concrete and composites to textiles. Following some of the messages from Dean Massey, as a part of this program, we also have evolved it to so that it involves this aspect of design and justice. The particular aspect is working closely with the community in Ann Arbor, and in particularly working with the disability community, and a center here called the Center for Independent Living in Ann Arbor, where the students worked alongside members and the team of this center to develop projects for a new art studio and gallery space. It's been a very exciting experience, a very new experience for us as instructors, as well as for the students to engage this balance between technical skill and community engagement. And it's brought with it a lot of physical and emotional challenges, a lot of vulnerability, and across the board, this has been an excellent cohort to take on this challenge. With that, and in keeping with this balance of community engagement with design, skill, and expertise, I'd like to extend the award for the Master of Science in Architecture Citizenship Award to Lauren Aman. Sorry, I said your name wrong. I'll get it right the next time. Is it this one?
Thank you so much.
I'd like to then ask the Master of Science students to come forward, and for Dean Massey to join them in congratulating the students with their achievement. Jumana Al-Hashemi. Lauren Aman. Nishida Vinodre. Jinran Lee. Daniel Ran. Juliet Nora Zydek. Jingwen Song. J.K. Shen. Alireza Bamramban.
I now welcome Architecture Program Chair McLain Clutter to present the graduating architecture students.
Hello, Taubman College Master of Architecture class of 2022. I feel like we've all been through quite a lot together throughout these past few years. And now, on the day of your graduation, I come with good news and bad news. Good news first. Today you will indeed graduate with a Master of Architecture degree from Taubman College. Congratulations. This is a great accomplishment. The bad news is that I'm afraid your degree is a misnomer. There might not be any Masters of Architecture. Among the many things that I bet you've learned in the past 2 or 3 years of architecture school, and especially in a school with such a breadth of thought as ours, is that the built environment encompasses a vast ecology of complex social, aesthetic, and technical concerns. So that means for the architect, there is just a lot to know. Too much, I think, for anyone to claim mastery. So where does this leave you as you take this next step in your careers? Well, don't worry. Here is an incomplete list of things you may or may not have learned here at Taubman in the last few years that I think will serve you quite well. How to draw, how to think through drawing, Rhino, a whole lexicon of terms for spatial and aesthetic conditions invisible to most people. Also the ability to talk about architecture to non-architects, Blender, how to calculate moment, the importance of maintenance and care, the Adobe Creative Suite, empathy for non-humans, life cycle analysis, how to detail a curtain wall, that history is about the present, how to push back, unity, how to use the mute button, a heightened awareness of your identity and positionality, the power of imagination and representation, how to program a grocery store, all about bioswales. Please email me if you want the rest of this list, and of course, copy Laura Brown. But most importantly, I hope that you've learned that architecture, as a discipline, a field of scholarship, and as a profession, is less a fixed body of knowledge and techniques to be mastered than it is a fluid discourse to be engaged, and a dynamic way of knowing the world. Some aspects of our discipline have remained resiliently intact for quite some time, like the ability to organize and embody ideas in form and space. Other pressing architectural concerns, like the need to decouple the built environment from mores of systemic racism, or the urgencies to address imminent climate disaster, are relative newcomers to the core of the discipline that are now absolutely essential. I think that the education you've had here at Taubman has modeled the dynamic nature of our discipline. And in doing so, it's left you prepared to address the unknown urgencies of the future. You haven't been educated to be masters of architecture, but to take on a whole range of roles that the world needs much more from its architects: spatial activists, advocates, critical thinkers, and stewards of a more beautiful and just built environment. So I was kind of kidding, There's no bad news today, after all. Congratulations again, class of 2022. And so now I have the honor of presenting a few awards to the Master of Architecture candidates. And I'll ask the recipients to please come on stage to receive your award. The first award is the AIA Medal of Academic Excellence. So in each recognized school of architecture in the United States, the American Institute of Architects awards an annual engraved medal to the Master of Architecture degree candidate with the highest scholastic standing. It was hard this year. This year we had an unprecedented 8 students tied for the top GPA. And so the final AIA medal awardee was determined by a faculty vote. I first want to recognize the 8 students, though, because they're all remarkable. These 8 students were Ellis Wills Begley, Raymond Majewski, Kasim Ishmael Shamut, Judith Mendoza, Alessandro Cutia, Allison Stam, Noel Ridley, and Ian Eikensar. Congratulations to you all. And this year, the AIA Medal for Excellence recipient is Allison Stam. Our next award is the Alfa Rocha Medal. Alfa Rocha is a national professional fraternity for students of architecture and the allied arts. And it awards its medal annually to recognize the Master of Architecture degree candidate who has shown leadership and given service to the school, and whose personality and attitude give promise of professional success. And this year's Alfa Rocha medal recipient is Ellis Wills Begley. Next, we have the Burton L. Kampner Memorial Award. The Burton L. Kampner Memorial Award was established in 1967 in memory of Burton L. Kampner, class of 1953. It's an annual award that goes to a thesis project for a student for design excellence. And this year, we had first 2 honorable mentions for these awards, and I'll ask these students to please stand in place and be recognized. First is Wingto Victoria Wong. Wingto's project was titled Into the Void, Fragmented Time, Space, Memory, and Decay in Hiroshima. And the next project was by Qian Li and Kamon Nartnut Rumit. And Qian and Kamon's project was titled Growing Buttress. It's down here, I didn't make it up. And then the Burton L. Kampner Memorial Award recipient this year is Jasmine Wright. Jasmine, come on up. Jasmine's project was titled Brickworm. And then finally, this year we're awarding an Architecture Program Distinction Award. Program Distinction Award recipients have demonstrated a combination of academic success, future promise, and leadership in their time here at the college. And this year we'd like to award a Program Distinction Award to Akima Barkin. Okay, and now I would like to introduce Master of Architecture graduate Megan Finley, who's been selected by her peers to speak on behalf of the students receiving the Master of Architecture degree.
Can everyone see my screen? It's a little Zoom humor to get us started. All right, I've been asked to speak on behalf of the Master of Architecture students, and I'm truly honored and frankly quite shocked to do so. We are the COVID cohort, and it's a name we bear begrudgingly. This group of students has been pressured, likely more than any past others, by the question, well, how dedicated are you? How dedicated are you in the state of social disruption to continue a commitment to architecture? How angry are you with the current state of things that you will invest your time to riot against it? How compassionate can you be with yourself and with others to know when intervention is needed and when it is not? This ceremony is not a finality, it is a doorway. And over this threshold, we carry our dedication, our rage and compassion, giving ourselves the permission to feel it and the wisdom to know when to use it. I understand that we would like to end these sentiments on a hopeful and lighthearted note, and that sense of levity can be difficult to muster, especially after 3+ years of studying the built environment. So I can honestly say that I have been inspired by the vocality, that means we complain a lot, charmed by the talents, and overwhelmed by the creative output of this cohort. We are dedicated. To what? I can't say definitively. That's up for each person to decide, but I can't wait to see what it is. Thank you.
So now I think that I will announce the Donna M. Sulzer Award for Teaching Excellence, which is the faculty award. And the Donna M. Sulzer Award for Teaching Excellence recognizes excellence in teaching and advising. Sulzer was an assistant professor at the college who was a teacher of teachers. She helped students and peers alike. The first award for teaching excellence given in Sulzer's name was presented in 1993. And this year's faculty award winner is Jen McGray. It seems that Jen could not be here today, but congratulations, Jen. Now I invite Ellie Abrams to read the names of the Master of Architecture candidates, an honor asked of her by the graduating class. And Master of Architecture candidates, please come forward. Dean Massey, please join me in congratulating the students.
Allison Stam. Ellis Wills Begley. Megan Finley. Akima Brakin. Aya Shahadi. Judith Grace Mendoza. Serena Brewer. Elizabeth Sinawi. Lu Li. Rinwei Liu. Chen Huang. Yujia Wang. Jingwen Wang. Belinda Zhao. Yushin Ma. Yunyan Li. Song Gao. Yaran Zing. Zanyan Zhang. Tianyi Li. Xiaoheng Li. Hayu Zheng. Zheng. Zhouxing Bai. Xuanyan Chloe Tsui. Yi Young. Victoria Wong. Kale Fineout. Kunshi Liu. Alexandra Cadence Worth. Kara Bowers. Noelle Ridley. Angelina Lodato. Jazz Wright. Kasim Shamot. The Coldest Gritty. Raymond Majewski. Isabel Borey. Chun-Li Julie Chen. Autumn Bender. Danielle R. Weitzman. Noah Russin. Alex Vernon. Ian Eikenzair, sorry. Jonathan Grant Levitsky. Matthew Weimiller. Nadim Haj Ahmad. Kayla Janae Hawley. Alexandra Perez Bermudez. Araceli Landero. Ankit Patel. Kevin Bashard. Katie Kramer. Benjamin Shanoa. Maddie Wong. John David Lazanak. David Dongjae Lee. Andrew Knighton. Fernando Rosas. Sean Malcolm. Amber Klinger. Alyssa Backer. Sydney Strasser. Jessica Doshane. Austin Vogelsang. Dan Shen. Talia Moretti. Elizabeth Garrity Green. Megan Carol Clevenger. Chun Yong Peter Zhao. Chen Li. Joy Zhou. Longping Shao. Kumon Narumit. Nikolai Carlson. Emmanuel Papajora Ayu. Sorry. Alessandro Gutia. Aiden Crossy. Nicholas Anelo. Brendan Mason. Clayton Arts. Prescott Trudeau. Anne Redmond. Zoe Thaler. Rosa Monzo. Celia Olson. And Tessa Brooke.
Congratulations again, Taubman College Master of Architecture class of 2023.
I now invite undergraduate architecture program director Anka Trendiferescu to introduce our Bachelor of Architecture grads.
Hello, everyone. Happy May Day. At the risk of alienating all of you, I'm going to speak to the undergrads. I wrote you a letter. Okay, dear undergraduate students, today I'm writing to you one last time as your teacher. After this, we will be colleagues. Of all the people graduating in this hall today, your transition is the biggest. Remember, you started this journey in high school with us, from your childhood homes and from the people who nurtured you, to for the first time, forging your own paths in your own ways, with your own interests. This was the first time you chose to be educated. And look at you now. You live on your own, sort of. You eat healthily, sometimes. But you're getting there, you're getting there. Because this transition is big. It takes time. And it was my great pleasure to get a glimpse of not only who you once were when you came to us, but also who you might become. So I wanted to write some wishes for you for your futures. You know, the kinds of things that a teacher would wish for graduating students. I made a list, and it got really long. And on it were things like, things that I hoped had blossomed for you here, like a long-lasting love of formulating a question over an answer, or continued fulfillment through a creative practice, or a love of modernist houses in the jungles of South America, or, and definitely, a continued fear of dolls named Puddin'. That was really on my list. And I do wish all of those things for you. But I think what I really, really want for you today is simply today. Because I didn't get to attend either of my college graduations, I didn't get a day like this. A day neither before nor after, one last time before all of this becomes the after. So if you can, take a moment for yourselves sometime during the day, even right now, to stop and enjoy this magnificent suspended present between what was and what will be. This last great small moment before your next step lands and you're off and running again. Today is your day. Thank you for being our students and bringing us so much of yourselves. Congratulations on your graduation. Sorry. I wish you good luck in all your endeavors, and I wish you today. Okay, so now I'm going to present some honors, and I'm going to ask that you all, if your name is announced, please come to the stage and bask in the glory. The first award is the Raul Wallenberg Competition Awards. All undergraduate seniors at Taubman College participate in the Wallenberg Studios, named for 20th century hero Raul Wallenberg, a 1935 graduate of our college. The studio culminates in a review by outside critics who selected the best work. Student winners are awarded generous scholarships to support international travel. The Wallenberg Award winners for this year are Madeline Smith, Muzi Lee, Audrey Louis, Manira Boyd-DeGraff, Sydney Cleveland, and Max Coolidge Krauthammel. I have one award that you all have to share. Cut it. Max, stand up. And we're going to get you awards sometime in the future. Yeah, go. We got you one. Okay. Additionally, this year we are awarding an Architecture Program Distinction Award. Program Distinction Award recipients have demonstrated a combination of academic success, future promise, and leadership in their time here at the college. This year's award winners are Max Coolidge Krauthammel and Lauren Conroy. Okay, and now we're going to hear from this year's student speaker for, I'm sorry. I'm going to invite Max Coolidge Krauthammel to speak on behalf of the students. He was elected by his class to give the talk, and let's hope his talk isn't as long as his lecture questions, eh?
Hey everybody, thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Anka. I would like to start out by congratulating Anka Trandaforescu, who is the recipient of this year's faculty award from the undergraduate class. Let's give it up for Anka. Woo! I have had the distinct honor of taking 2 studios from Anka, and I cannot think of anyone more deserving of this citation. Anka has been a tremendous mentor, a professor, and dare I say it, a friend. She is a peerless designer and a wonderful teacher. She shepherded our cohort through COVID during UG1 and embodies the phrase tough love. I want to say on behalf of all of my peers, we love you too, Anka, and we're going to miss you more than words can say. I'm somewhat unsure what my role is here. I feel supremely unqualified to give advice. I'm not someone who tends to plan things out, quite the opposite. I draw great personal inspiration from the Lord Admiral Horatio Nelson, who would reportedly assemble his captains before every battle, and rather than issue a complex strategy, simply say, "Go right at 'em." Not a great seaman, some would say, but a great leader nonetheless. I know no method to succeed unerringly. I only know that we have all learned that it is necessary to be able to fail and get back up time after time. I also know that the faculty and students assembled today are perhaps the most interesting, creative, and inspiring group of people I have ever had the pleasure to share a room with. Your families are probably all right too. I trust you will believe me when I say this is not flattery, as the time for that has long passed. But rather, I wish to thank you all for the joy and wisdom you have shared over our time together in undergrad. It would not have been possible for any of us to have been here without each of the others, so thank you guys. A lot of ink has been spilled in an attempt to inspire college graduates and to exhort them towards future glory. I don't see much need to further motivate any of you. It stands to reason that we've made it here, we ought to be able to make it further without some kind of saccharine parable about the places we'll go. Instead, I would like to read you a quote from Ursula Le Guin that I have found both beautiful and instructive. I hope you find it so also. If it is the future that you seek, then I tell you that you must come to it with empty hands. You must come to it alone and naked as the child comes into the world. Into his future, without any past, without any property, wholly dependent on other people for his life. You cannot take what you have not given, and you must give yourself. You cannot buy the revolution, you cannot make the revolution, you can only be the revolution. It is in your spirit, or it is nowhere. Thank you all. I love you guys. I'd like to present the faculty award. Zonka trying to rescue. I spoiled that at the top of the hour, but I'm going to hand it over now. Congratulations, Zonka. Good job.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Great speech.
You too.
Do I go down now?
You want to do this together? Okay, now I'd like to invite Jacob Kamerchi to come forward and read the names of the Bachelor of Science in Architecture students, an honor asked of them by the graduating class.
Max Coolidge Krauthammel. Lauren Conroy. Jared Chapman Freeman. Hudson A. Matz. Dominika Kuzmirchik. Janine Jan Zhang. Madiera Bui de Graaf. Leonie Muno. Kalala Ichi Vincent. Pak Yu Chan. Noah Brenner. Amelia Lockwood. Amy Wang. Honor Washington. Wood Aldulami. Brandon Burzlat. Sophie Jackson. Noor Nunu. Diana Yi Huang. Zoe Menke. Fatima Azara Adu. Ala Nashashibi. Joseph Mersuk. Alexander Hutchinson. Isabel Carr. Christina Meisel. Sydney Elaine Cleveland Datesman. Elizabeth Hunt Owen. Madeline Smith. McKenna Nicole Sabin. Haley Paige Beverlin. Olivia Grace Howard. Erica Simone Bem. Sophia Rose Febo. Eleanor Miller Rolander. Noah Kalman. Peter Kochansky. Joshua Tannen. Evan Robert Meek. Juan Vicente Marco. Dallin Deem. Hope Noel Fryer. Evan Hodery. Sammy Darwish. Audrey Louie. Alexandra Janice Blanchard. Tia Marie Blanchard. Juan Melendez, Jr. Jonathan Liao. Aiden Barron. Jiofan Ma. Muzi Lee. And Keaton J. Sharp. Congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations, Bachelor of Science graduates. So wrapping it up here, first of all, I would like to invite everyone to join us for a reception on the Ingalls Mall following the ceremony, following the recessional, and to say Happy Eid to all of those who have been observing Ramadan. You've heard this from some of the speakers, including Anka. While you've been in school, our focus has been on studying in a curriculum that is set by the faculty and in courses that we invest deeply in teaching. And I'd like to think that we played a very big role in your education here. But we also understand that you have learned as much or more from one another as you have from us directly. And over the long term, that network of peers moving forward in your careers and in your lives will be the most important legacy of your time here at Taubman College. As friends and friendly rivals, colleagues and partners, you'll continue to help one another out with advice, assistance, and opportunity, as you have in classroom and studio throughout your time here. You leave this ceremony, graduates, as the newest members of a Taubman College alumni group over 10,000 strong. Stay connected to one another and to us. Let us know how we can help accelerate your achievement through the next phases of your careers. Come back to share the work you're doing, the discoveries you're making at the leading edge of practice, and to introduce us to your new family members. Keep us in the loop. You will become partners to our faculty, to all of us, in the shared quest for knowledge and impact. Thank you, everyone, and congratulations.